All right, good evening. This is the Town of Monroe Board of Finance special meeting. Today is Tuesday, April 1st at 6 p.m. This is our budget workshop and I'm going to do roll call. So Mark O'Donnell,
Here.
Nick Sentimentes,
Here.
Steve Kirsch,
Here.
Samantha Spino,
Here.
Catherine Stauffer. I don't see her yet. So she may or may not join, I guess. I did talk to her earlier. So Terry Rooney
Here.
and Ron Banowski and Heidi Mead. Here, thank you. All right, so we're gonna get started. We have the police, the emergency management and fire departments here tonight. Any preference? You're all here for the long haul, okay.
Whoever's longest should go last.
We're
here to answer questions, we don't know the question is, you know?
Okay, perfect. So,
Clear.
let's, if the board is all okay with it, we'll start with the police.
Sure.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Sam. So I guess we'll just open it up to the board with any questions.
Yeah, so for the police, my questions start on page 30. There were two reductions made by the first selectman. One was to police cars, and the other was to police radios. So I'm wondering, where are they being funded out of? It looks to me like it's going to be funded in the capital plan, but numbers, reductions can't match the numbers that I have seen in the capital plan. So do the numbers tie out precisely, or?
It's being.
And number one, am I correct? That's where they're now coming from,
No.
through grants or something in the capital plan?
No, you're not correct.
Okay.
They're coming out of the private duty account,
Both?
both cars.
Both cars and radios?
Radio's always been funded through that.
Yeah. And that was to minimize budget impact in this year's referendum.
So in the private duty on page 180, under police, the two cars are listed at $128,900, and they're in the police private duty line at $128,900. And cars were reduced $193,350.
There was a third car, correct?
There's three cars and that's the cost of all the conversions and consoles replacement for. 193 was the total of everything. Everything car related.
Okay, so then on page 180, under police private duty, that value of $128,900 should in fact be $193,350.
That's the actual number on that line.
We reduced it by one car,
One car.
so we went from 3 to 2.
And I do have my other notes, yeah.
Okay, so we reduced 3 cars up here, we added 2 back.
Mhm.
Okay. And where are the radios? I see the camera system, camera replacement, end of life being covered by grants / other for $302,
That's the main.
$302,000.
Yeah, so that wouldn't be in the capital budget, because
Okay.
it's what your maintenance on the
Recurring
radio.
maintenance thing. It's under 151,535 is the line number.
Okay, that's the radios, and it was reduced to $132,842. That's just a straight reduction. It's not
That,
being funded someplace else.
That's the service fee from Norcom and Motorola And it's everybody's radio, this town-wide radio system.
Gonna be funded out of police private duty.
It will also be funded out of police
Yes.
private
It's
duty.
identified in the line item in the police budget.
Okay,
That's where we moved it to.
okay. I didn't see it on page 180. Okay, I missed that. Thank you. My police questions.
Any other questions?
Just one, are they swap overs or are they no?
The cars,
I missed the last couple of them.
the cars or the radios?
Yeah, the car,
The cars we usually drive until there's no left in them. We just had one for hybrid that we pulled today is gonna die real early. So I gotta figure out what we're gonna do with that, but they're usually trade-in junkers. If they have any value, they go to the town somewhere else usually.
do they swap the radios on or you?
Oh, yeah, the radios come out, yeah, they
Yeah,
get put back into the cars, yeah.
All right,
But the model year change messed up the light bars, so
I don't remember.
we're still catching up with that.
Sam, any questions on the phone?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay. All right, thank you. Heidi, do you know the page numbers for Monroe? Yeah. Lisa.
Monroe starts in 16.
Okay, thank you.
Fire starts on 1/16/30.
There we go.
Budget piece starts on.
So we'll move on to fire department. Just.
You're up, though, that is.
Yeah.
Not Mexico.
Unless there's something you want to tell us that we don't know to ask.
Yeah, there ain't much in that one, it's pretty shallow, so.
All right,
Do you wanna jump to emergency management? It's pretty small, just so keep in the.
sure, we can do that.
vacate the premises.
Please do that.
Probably the town's smallest budget list.
So that's on what, 143? 142?
One 36 begins emergency.
Yeah.
Okay, so Sam, we're switching to EMS right now.
Yep,
Emergency.
I'm following you.
Okay, just making sure.
Thank you.
Not EMS, emergency.
Emergency, right. I actually did not have any questions for this. I just had notes.
I had nothing for emergency management.
You didn't either? Do you guys?
EMS or emergency management.
Emergency.
Okay.
All right, well, thank you.
Correct. I have
Good job,
I have no question for emergency. management.
Thank you. Okay. So now switching back to fire.
16.
Okay, so let's start with Monroe Fire.
So I'm gonna have a.
Catherine, I'm going to try to unmute you.
Is that?
Catherine,
Hi.
Hi.
so.
So
let me-
just for the record, Catherine Stoffer joined the meeting.
So I'm gonna have a general question for each of the departments, and that is, what equipment is on order? So as each of you speak tonight, if you'll just address that.
Hard value equipment?
Trucks and apparatus.
I can answer that question first for Monroe or?
Sure.
the other
Sure,
question?
Yeah,
sure,
please,
go ahead.
thank
I
you.
think as everyone knows, there was the approval of a rescue engine or squad last year. That order was placed in August of 2024, anticipated delivery of October of 25. Yeah, we're in the right year now. I think 25 or 26. 26. 26. Can't remember what year I'm in. Kind of off top, no, on topic to the fire department, but Heidi, I've noticed the oil water separator at Monroe Fire, put them in the budget.
I'm okay with that.
Page 121 is showing, that's why our building maintenance is going up so much as a downside budget. That should be moving over to the EMS budget.
Wait, say that again, please.
Page 121,
Mhm.
station number 2, second oil water separator could not be in the Monroe Fire budget, that should move to EMS.
Oh, line 2.
Yeah. It was probably in EMS last year, which is why you see no budget for 24-25.
We didn't have it as a line item last year. Yeah, I don't know where it was.
No.
It wasn't in our budget.
We vacated that premises, so it shouldn't be ours.
Yeah, and I think that was an item that I think I have in my notes someplace from the town council.
So that would move out? or
That the
move-
fire department could easily made.
DPW budget's that.
But you laughed when you saw.
Oh,
I
okay.
thought it was funny.
What is
Budget's big fan.
Chris, I'm gonna go look.
Yeah.
that $4,000 came up
it.
during the town council's budget workshop? Because it was in my
That's
notes.
budgeted by DPW, so let me just double check that.
Yeah, I went up there, yeah, because I haven't seen that charge before.
Yeah,
Your headlights look at it.
yeah, I don't remember where it was, but I know I came across it in my notes from their meeting.
Okay.
And
It's all the last
it was the $4,000 that stuck in my.
What day is that, Chris?
In my mind.
$1,000 is that, what day is that? I won't take your money.
Oh,
Just fell on.
thank you.
One awards night. That sounds good.
So there's no
26th
issue with the
June.
amount as far as we know, it's just
It's where
where
it
it's
goes.
hitting.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
where it's sitting. The item is,
28.
the item is right.
Any other questions on the, I know I brought some up randomly, but, on the operation side, that's why I can answer.
June 27th. You guys better have a birthday date for you.
Day
Um,
birthday?
26.
Close enough. Oh, well. What type of cake you like?
I don't
An only cake?
really, do I look picky?
I can do one, so. Friday.
Yeah, Friday.
Okay, so if we want to go back in order to Monroe. Can somebody just update me on where we stand with the building and the renovation and that project that's in here for $10,000 worth of bonding?
10,000?
10 million. It's been a long day.
I think there was.
I understand
I
what it is, Mr. Kirsch.
think Chief Catalano will give an update at the last Board of Finance Town Council session on that. I wasn't at that, but I think that was the session where he gave the update back. We met with, a contractor that does Butler buildings. That contractor is out of Newtown, and I believe I know the cost estimate is substantially lower than 10 million. I was close to numbers. I think it's south of 5
Half of
million.
that.
Yeah.
Half of that.
Wow, good.
However, it has to go out to bid and we hope that we find multiple companies that do it, so it's fair. But I think the Butler building is a really nice choice. They did one in Newtown, right?
Newtown Fire Station.
And it came out very, very nice, so. Definitely gonna be into that option.
Okay, and there's a ladder truck listed for 1.9 million.
You're over our capital now.
Yeah, I am because,
183.
I'm sorry, Bill, I'm looking at it from page 180, but yeah, it's probably in two places. 180 shows how we're gonna fund it.
Right.
So the capital that we submitted for, the ladder truck, that was a truck that we sold last year for 975,000. When we sold that, we did discuss that truck would need to be replaced in the future, post-station renovation. In order to, a lot of it's timing and stacking of projects, right? So if that station is done, let's just say 2 years, right? If you ordered the truck in 2 years, it wouldn't be here for 6 years. So in order to get that truck timed on the delivery upon the station completion, a truck like that likely has a minimum 24 to upwards of 40-month lead time to place the order. In order to place the order, there has to be bonding in place to place the order, even though you wouldn't issue the bonds until delivery of the apparatus,
Which is what we're doing with the
the
current.
current apparatus. Which should be beneficial since, I mean, I can't predict rates, but presumably they will decline coming forward,
Would be nice.
would be nice. Not my savings account, but for.
So while I'm on a ladder truck, both Rebecca and I are on the Board of Education's facilities ad hoc committee. The question was raised at the last meeting. If we added an additional floor to Chalk Hill, do we have,
Yes.
where do we have ladder trucks that would, how many?
75. Truck 100.
And we have one,
In the whole town, we only have one currently.
that would reach.
One ladder truck in town currently, but I think by the time you add a floor to that building, it'd be when the other ladder truck was arriving.
If you're even such not capable of doing that.
Again, just a question that was raised, and I'm trying to kill two birds with one stone since I've got everybody here. Thank you.
As far as the community need for the truck, now, just bear with me because I'm still learning about the fleet and all of that. Is there data for,
Refer you to the fire services study committee that talks about it in depth.
okay, all right.
But yeah, there is data. But
Okay,
I can't recite it off the top of my head, but the town paid for a study 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
has it all?
talks about it in depth, I would say. If you think about, the summary of what I'll give you is, a lot of people, when they think about a ladder truck, think about height.
Mhm.
But what you also have to think about is reach. So think about, a ladder truck is typically placed on the street, right? We're not pulling in a residential driveway. So think about how far houses are set back in some of our neighborhoods from the street. So if the house is already set back 50 feet, right? And you want your firefighter operating on a platform or a ladder operating on that roof. You're not just thinking about, oh, we have a lot of 2-story homes in town, why you need a 100-foot tower ladder or potentially a 75-foot ladder truck. It's all about the reach in addition to the height. So while a building like Chalk Hill or Jockey Hollow, we are concerned about height,
Mhm.
in our residential neighborhoods, we're concerned about reach. And the single ladder truck in town being on the 25 side, having another ladder truck centrally located in town, covering the central and eastern side of town is important with the residential and also commercial development we have in this area. And the fire study will talk through some of that.
Okay,
And let's say today, let's say at Waterview, we did need to make the roof of Waterview. 801 Main Street is a very long way from the Waterview in a ladder truck. In a vehicle, it takes a very long time to get there. In truck 100, a very, very long time to get there. That's why we do need a second truck in town,
okay.
just for that long.
And is this ladder truck, when I'm thinking ladders and reach, like, is it the same or better than the one that we already own?
So I wouldn't think about same or better,
Like,
so
Compare,
not to necessarily dive in. So the two ladder trucks that we had in town were both mid-mount tower ladders. That means the ladder pivot point is essentially located directly behind the cab. And a tower ladder means there's a platform the firefighters operate at the end of that. Theirs is 100 feet in length. Ours that we sold was 81 feet in length. Both are considered quints, which means they can do 5 jobs. They have water on them, they have a pump on them, they have ladder suppression capabilities, et cetera. It is likely that when we go purchase our ladder truck, and there'll be actual fire services needs assessment at the time of what we think our needs are. Do we need another tower ladder, or do we need what's called a straight stick, meaning it's a ladder with no bucket on the end, the firefighter operates at the end of the ladder.
okay,
That's what we had prior to the purchase of the truck that we sold. We operated a rear mount straight stick. It is, if I was a betting man, I'd say it's likely we would wind up with a rear mount straight stick in the central district with the tower ladder on the west side of town, which is a great complementary set of equipment in a town where you can operate a tower ladder or a stick and give you different capabilities.
okay, all right, thank you. Appreciate that, thank you.
So let me try to understand one thing, Chris. I think you made it very clear. I know we're not talking about capital right now, but we need to get moving on that building sooner than later, correct? I mean, if
The
we
building,
want,
yes.
if we want the community to be safe and have what you need as far as ladders, we need to really look at that building.
Yes, you're currently relying on a 15-year-old ladder truck making it all the way from 801 Main Street all the way to Waterview. That's the current plan, which isn't a very
Yeah.
good plan.
It makes no sense to order the ladder truck without an approved building
Right, without a
plan,
building
because if that truck was to come in before, say that building never got approved or got approved later, all of a sudden you have a $1.9 million piece of equipment that has no roof to go under.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right.
And these
So
are
we-
important safety issues.
I would agree.
If we do have a situation currently, we have to bring truck one hundred all the way from Stepney.
Or if that ladder goes out of service, which these large apparatuses need repairs every year, then you're relying on either, Newtown, Shelton, or Trumbull
Right.
to, and obviously they would respond, but the
Right.
distance is even further than to get that resource into the town.
And there's an actual shortage of them in the region right now. For example, 2 months ago, I got a call from Newtown, can you cover us? Like, why would I need to cover you? You're a big town, you got plenty of ladder trucks. Well, we have a shortage, can you cover this side of town for us? It's a short thing. So for
Okay.
1 month, I was covering half of their district.
So the mutual agreements work really well,
Oh,
obviously.
Oh,
They were very, very well, but
Okay,
it's Chris point's a long way to travel
okay,
in these big vehicles
okay,
when there's a rescue, an imminent rescue situation.
right.
So
Okay,
yes,
Yeah, I don't-
to Terry's point, there's great urgency with this building.
okay.
It's holding up a lot of things.
So we're not modifying that number at this time until you refine it with the bids?
We have to work on that.
Okay,
And, just frankly speaking, and I'm not speaking on behalf of the fire department, but I'm speaking from understanding of what the fire department experienced. We were working on that. That was our next move after the EMS facility. We were going to work on the fire department. So they've been very patient with that building. The EMS facility had the previous ladder truck that was sold for $975,000. But it didn't fit in that building, which is the issue, which is pretty much why it was sold, right? I mean, it was a large vehicle, it was cumbersome. The intent was good based on the reach concept. Am I correct in what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, yeah, 100%. No ladder truck would fit in 18 Shelton Road. The
Right.
bays are not deep enough, or
Mhm.
tall enough.
So-
That those buildings, it's not that you're old, but you.
1965, remember my dad.
And honestly, I mean, hats off to the fire department for doing due diligence and finding a far less expensive option.
right,
Because Mr. Catalano came with that $10 million number and that's what it looked like. But he found an option that's relatively half that, and I think that's good due diligence on the fire department's part. Now, we don't have actual bids and actual numbers, but we know based on the company that spoke, a very legitimate company has built a lot of very large complexes and buildings around the state. That it's probably a pretty accurate number.
What I don't know, if I can ask maybe Heidi or Ron, is there money in the budget this year to facilitate a bid package and going out to bid?
There is money in the capital reserve for project design development.
Okay. Because that's obviously important to bring. it
Well,
to
I
the
was,
next
I
step.
was gonna,
Yeah.
thank you, yeah.
I would support, I would support moving forward on that.
okay.
So, Ron, do we have to wait until the next fiscal year, or do we have money that we can give them now?
Or
To do,
that money is available.
to do a design?
There's money in that fund now. In the capital reserve.
So what? Oh, excuse me.
That's the second time, Steve. Last meeting, your phone. Grandchildren?
Yeah, this could very well be.
It's the cutest thing ever, man, to be honest.
I forgot to turn it off. My apologies. Now I'm distracted. So we've got money that we can do now. So what formally needs to be done to?
Well, they would have to engage, so a contract would have to go through council, it would have to be procured, so. Who are they selecting to do the?
So it's up to them to make a selection and then come to us for the funding?
Yeah, I mean, it would be up to the, I would assume it would be up to them to procure who,
Butler building that we were looking at only has one contractor in the area, so that sort of narrows it down.
And from what I understand, they're part of the consortium.
So an exception waiver
So it
could
might be an
be,
exception waiver, yeah.
Yes.
They were working on they gave us a high level estimate, they were working on their detailed kind of line item build up, and we were working on we were meeting with Aquarian contractors for bringing the public water down 110 further, so. Once we gather all that, Ron and Terry probably best that, Chief Catalano and President Davin and me just connect with you guys and we'll figure out next steps.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, my view is I'd like you all to do whatever it is that has to be done to get to him. And not wait till the new fiscal year.
That makes
If
sense.
we've got money set aside, then it's. Right, it's there because. I agree, it's needed and I just don't want any delays, so. That's just my view. I assume.
I'm not fighting with you, Mr. Kirk.
I know.
No, I'm not.
You're not gonna hear
I'm-
anyone
I'm-
disagree.
I'm here to disagree with you.
I'm assuming that my fellow board members,
Anything that's regarding health and safety, if we have a situation based on having to bring that ladder truck across town, we need to fix this sooner than later, absolutely.
I have always maintained that the number one priority for a town, a state, a government is health and safety.
Without a doubt.
Okay, and then everything else comes after that, so.
Agree with you.
And I've not known any of these guys to be rash or, overstate the need, so.
So is it bid on the building, get the building and then the truck, or at the same simultaneously, or both, or how would that?
I think the way I would
Just
approach
trying
it is we would get speaking kind of just quickly, I would think we want the bonding approved on the building and the contractor selected and get a timeline. And then once we have the timeline from the builder, including contingency timeline, we would then say, is that greater or less than the build time for the truck? And then back into the order date for the truck. Though I think the order date for the truck would fall into FY 26, so I think my proposal would be still stay in your FY 26 bonding proposal for the truck, whether we order that truck in August or May, somewhere between there. I think it depends on how quickly we move on getting the building approved and getting the timeline from the builder.
Okay.
He's a local builder in Newtown. Obviously built one of the Newtown firehouses. I think understands the time of it is of the essence, urgency on when you're building an emergency services facility, but doing it the right way.
To make sure all the timing.
Yeah.
And looking at that building, Mark, over on 110, it'd be the 3 bays to the left that currently house the apparatus now, that's where it would get chopped off. That would be the
Built from there.
The actual 2-story structure would still remain.
So
And the
you
facade in
take
the
down
front would be
bays
redone
and
as
then
well.
just Build new bays
Build new
and
bays, right.
front, back,
Right.
height,
Yeah,
and to the left.
instead of 3 bays, it's 5 bays.
Looking at the building.
And to the east, yeah.
Right, to the east, right?
How far is the aquarium run?
Not far, but you'd be surprised at the price.
Yeah.
Wow. It's going from Stony Brook, right? It's going from the water, from the water tank,
Oh, it's
$400,000.
Come on.
What are, in your, and I can ask this to all the chiefs, in your if we move forward with the building, get that accomplished. What are the chances in that time that we come across a ladder truck that's already built?
Oh, yeah, demo.
So
You know?
the market's been interesting. I monitor, because we sold our fire truck, I'm attached to somehow a lot of social media related to used fire apparatus.
Okay, well, that's good.
So I happen to see it. So there is more and more coming onto the market. But I think what we want to be careful with is, a ladder truck that is either a demo rig,
Mhm.
or a not so old used rig, I would say is the chance is probably 10% or less. That
You-
meets our needs.
You would
right?
go by hours though, right, on it too?
We look at hours, look at
Yeah, 'cause
miles.
that's it's not.
Look at-
yeah, hours of
why they're-
usage.
Why they're selling it, right? Like, when we sold our truck that was 3 years old, all the questions were very focused on, there must be something wrong with it. Why are you selling it? We had a really good story around why we were, right? From, the EMS building, a delay of when we were gonna get our new building, which other fire departments understood. Especially when they came and looked at it, they clearly were coming to an EMS headquarters to look at a fire truck.
That
So-
truck was immaculate and
Yeah.
every single scratch was fixed on
Yeah.
it.
So that's what you have to be careful with. I think
It's pristine.
the better look would be like a demo truck. The issue right now is given the backlog on these manufacturers, the availability of demos is rare, and when they come up, they're sold by the person who walks to check into that show,
They're gone.
right? So like the story I heard, right, like, so FDIC is like one of the biggest fire department shows in the US. And a lot of the big manufacturers will bring demo trucks there. You wanna know how they're sold? Fire department show up with blank checks and write the check at the show and buy the truck. Right, so that's why the demos aren't available. In 3 years, is that a different story? Possibly, I probably wouldn't bet on it.
Well, and also you're trying to stay with the same brand. Suffin seems to be the brand of choice for you guys now.
We've had a lot of luck with our 2009 Suffins.
Yeah.
And even the older Suffin that Stepney has, I think it's a quality build. You know, US owned family company, does quality work. We've had a lot of good luck with them.
All the substance we have good vehicles.
You know, Chris, there's
That's why
probably
we're
a 10%
refurbing.
chance of
Yeah.
catching one of these vehicles, used or demo. It could be even less than that, because I spoke earlier to the regional issue, you know, Newtown needing me to cover their section, certain section of their town. It's a national problem at this point,
Oh, without a doubt.
because, you know, our truck 100 I put in, so I just wanted to hit the radar that we will need to replace our truck 100 that's 15 years old now in the next 5 years. I spoke to our rep to get a number, and the number that is striking is 2.3 million. By the time it gets, it's probably 3 million.
Mhm.
But he says you wait a very long time, because there's just such an order still. COVID is still playing into this, believe it or not, for these ladder trucks.
And who knows what the tariff things are gonna do. That's in terms of price and.
Yeah, a lot of
parts
steel, a lot of
and
steel and aluminum in these trucks.
Exactly.
You know, so, you know, the fear is, do you see a couple fears, right? Do you see a large price increase? And, you know, hopefully, we haven't seen anything come through yet, but even on the current order, right, there is, that's probably one of the economic situations where they can come back and say, there's been a significant macroeconomic geopolitical event that, you know, so it's stuff we have to monitor.
Yeah, I sort of remember there was a discussion about what was going in the contract in terms of responding to issues. In terms of just purchasing and stuff, are there grants available either for purchase of apparatus or for doing the building?
So there is an Assistance to Firefighters grant program called AFG. That is the probably largest public safety grant program available to the fire service. I think all 3 departments have been recipients in some form over the last decade of various grants related to that.
I think it's all on hold now though, right?
So one, I mean, yes, if you think about what's happening, you know, in Washington, you know, if anyone wants to rely on any federal funding, you're kind of kidding yourself, right? But let me talk about the program real quick. So apparatus and buildings used to be covered, they were pulled out. They were put back in during COVID, they're out again. Apparatus are extremely challenging to get on that grant program. When you look at the 75,000 fire companies in the United States, you know, there are many fire companies who are doing a lot worse off than we are. That's just facts, right?
Facts.
So they're gonna give the money to a fire company whose first out piece is still a 1960 open cab fire apparatus. Us trying to replace a unit that, yes, is outside of NFPA years of service, but is still generally a safe truck. The likelihood you get that on the priority of funding is superbly low and is not worth the cost of writing that grant. I've written over a dozen AFG grants. I've been awarded 4 of them. It's not easy to do, but you're best to go after the things in the notice of funding opportunities that are high opportunity for grant and where you check all the boxes. So typically we go after equipment. So we were awarded extrication equipment 1 year, an SCBA compressor, our gear washer and dryer, things that we didn't have that were clear NFPA no-nos, right? And then I mean, some of these NFPAs are probably gonna come law with some of the changes, which will help, but you know, for apparatus and buildings, the possibility of grants, less than 1%, I would give, yeah.
What about for the fit out? You know, stuff that goes on the truck.
So typically, like on fit out, what's good about our operating budgets over the years, I think we've all been diligent in ensuring that our equipment is typically in well working order, and we are able to update our equipment on a regular as needed basis. So like when our new squad comes in that we ordered, there's very, very limited new equipment that will go on that truck. It will largely just be transferred from the truck it's replacing with a handful of things that will get replaced that will fund through operations. The ladder truck, we took a lot of equipment off the ladder truck that we've either put on our other apparatus have, or we've sold some low value equipment. When that truck comes in, there'll likely be an equipment outfitting budget. I don't expect it to be significant. The most costly things that go on that apparatus are the SCBA air packs, which we have. The other equipment, naps, a halogen bar, a pipe pole, you're talking about equipment that costs $150 to $300 a unit, right? You don't write a grant for that type of equipment that would go on that truck.
And the air packs and stuff are well within their useful life.
Our air packs are brand new. We got those through town funding last year. Those will last 10 years. NFPA requirement, they have to be replaced every 10 years. The 70 and Stevenson, I think, are a couple years older than ours.
We got a good 7 years left.
So
7 years left. Okay.
So we got those 6, but you think about those for each department, that's probably around a $300,000 bill every time those come up. That's required by NFPA. That is one of the NFPAs that will likely become law, that they just have to be changed.
Yeah, and the last time there was a discussion, it was staggered with departments, so we weren't having to hit everybody all at once.
Yeah.
My recollection.
Basically, it's 3 companies.
Okay.
There's some small capital on here, just not have any questions on it, can answer it, if not.
No, I mean, I was interested in the big ones. I mean, we're gonna have a whole meeting on just capital, but I didn't have anything else for you guys.
Okay. Any other questions?
People gain 17 pounds.
Sam, do you have anything?
No, I mean, I was just a general question just about the increase in call volume over the past, 3 years, and just kind of just to kind of talk about that and how that plays into some of these plans that you have and what's kind of driving it. Is it just like the increase in residents, what like infrastructure, just what have you kind of seen from that perspective, just to kind of understand.
Yeah,
that you have.
I think, let me just look, I think I was on 117.
118, yes.
When you look at townwide call volume, we're up 130 calls in the trailing public period when we put this together in November. And certainly, there's certainly some events in that period that drove some significant call volume, including the August flooding situation. I'll be honest with you, the ice storm in, when was that, January, December, I can't remember.
Yep.
We actually did more calls that day than the flooding event. That was our 3rd highest call volume day in history. So there is
Third.
highest.
Yep.
Superstorm Sandy and the snowstorm that October that year on Halloween and more. So there's a piece of it that the increasing frequency of unusual weather events is driving increased call volume. That's I'd say probably one of the largest driving factors. I joined the fire department 25 years ago. I'd say these unusual weather events were a once every couple of year event, and now they seem to happen 2 to 3 times a year, where we're hit with anywhere from 25 to 40 incidents in a very short period of time. It's actually driving, for example, the capital request around the fire command center radio system in order to run centralized fire command from the fire station. When you're running high volume calls like that, you need massive incident coordination that would run out of that. To a lesser extent, and this is me talking from my gut versus statistical analysis. Yes, the increase in housing units, population, and commercial development certainly adds to call volume. You have some things that take away from it, like people moving from monitored alarm systems to, ring systems and other systems. That kind of takes it down because they're not monitored, right? So it's kind of a push and take. There's been for some reason, a lot more motor vehicle accidents. That could be because there's increased traffic of people going to our commercial establishments, which I think are great for the town, but do put more people on the road and other things. So, largely I'd say it's weather events that are driving it, but there is a portion that's population and housing units that's driving it too.
And the motor vehicle incidents also, passed through the town, the amount of vehicles on 25 now. We've seen a lot of motor vehicle accidents. Some days you can almost time at 4 or 5 o'clock in a motor vehicle accident. There's just so many vehicles on the road now. Huge increase in frequency of that.
Thank you. That was very helpful. Just want a little of that insight, so I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right, everybody good with Monroe?
Yeah.
All right, move on to Stevenson.
Yeah, you talked about capital projects, trucks. Right now, our engine 302, which is one of the 2009 Suttons, is out being refurbished, making it into engine rescue. That's happening now. We're target date to have it back is in November, but we think it's going to come back sooner than that. Once that's done, we're going to be selling the rescue we have. So we're going to be reducing our fleet by one vehicle. So this is going back to the discussion about the Suttons and the quality and everything. We had this one evaluated before we suggested that we do this. It's instead of purchasing a brand new engine rescue, saving the town substantial.
I remember that coming.
Yep. So that's out being, it's in the works right now.
Yeah, that was a great decision.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a
To
very good
refurbish.
decision.
And a solid chassis.
Yep, solid chassis. Yes, we had to upgrade the rear axle, but in the big picture, you're not buying, you're buying
You're
a
not
brand new
buying-
rear axle. You're not buying a whole brand new truck.
Right.
So cab, chassis and pump are gonna be the same. So
That-
other than that.
That
anything
conversation,
else?
I remember.
Yep, anything else, we don't have anything on order or plan on ordering. In the near
For-
future.
When you say the near future, the next 5 years.
Yes,
or
if you
further
look
out?
at our capital budget, which I'm sorry, I don't know what page
180.
you're looking at.
One,
but,
probably 180.
You know, we've got money in there in this request to refurbish our brush truck. Which again, yes, it's a Ford 550, not the most expensive vehicle in the world, not like a big engine. But we can refurbish it for 100,000. And same thing, we think it would be a good vehicle to keep. You'll see in there, 120 to reevaluate and refurbish tanker 315, which is in the FY 28 budget. And then the only other thing really, as far as the replacement, is replace the ATV that we have.
You're driving around town in it, have you?
Hmm?
Been driving around town in it, have you?
Well, we presently, it's in, it
Maybe
goes
that's
in
the
a trailer.
ATV I hear driving up and down behind.
No,
you.
you're not hearing that
I
one.
Okay,
Does go out, but it
Yeah.
doesn't get driven around town.
okay, yeah, page 183 for reference is the multi-year plan. Okay. Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. All right, Stepney.
Currently, we don't have any apparatus on order. As I mentioned before, I did put truck 100 on the radar. It is on the plan, the townwide apparatus replacement plan, but I just wanted to flip the radar just to make sure everybody's aware that was coming down the pipe. Just because they are getting so incredibly expensive, I put on here for FY 29 of 2.3 million, which is conservative estimate of what it will cost at this point. Tariff, who knows the kind of impact that could have. Before I became chief in November, apparatus was approved for the replacement of engine 102 to the tune of 1.2 million. We're just finishing up the third bid now, so I'll be approaching the finance department with that in the coming months.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm assuming you all are continuing your joint development of the whole apparatus plan.
We are working together better than we ever have in the 28 years I've been involved in the fire company. So as far as the apparatus plan, we're involved in that. We support each other on calls. We work together very well. So
There's a very high level of communication.
Yeah, well, I can just tell you what I've observed over the years, that it's gotten much, much better, so. That's why I said, I'm assuming that you're still doing it.
Okay, definitely.
But
The impact of the Monroe Volunteer Fire Department's willingness to work together. We've never seen what we have right now, and a big part of it is our new Stepney chief, you know, it just finished the four corners and, yeah, very happy with what we're seeing moving forward. The events, they get together, they discuss, you know, how they're gonna work through scenarios and situations on a regular basis, how they're gonna work collaboratively. It's pretty impressive what's kind of happening with the fire service here right now. Very happy with that. That's, you guys all decided that that's the right way to go,
That's the
and
right way to go. We all need assistance at any point in time.
for all the years I've lived in this town, different fire departments have been at each other's throats, and this is the first time, and I thank you for saying that. The first time in a long time I've seen the organizations work together the way they are.
You got a plan, I could submit it to the town I work for.
You can be a volunteer fireman whenever you like.
My wife won't let me.
Yeah, he's gonna retire soon.
Yeah, that's right.
You'll have time.
She is not happy I mentioned that. 40 years as a law enforcement, you're not gonna become a volunteer fireman. I'm interested though.
We'll bring applications to the next meeting.
I know.
We had to go.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? Good.
I know you requested like
Yep.
2 years of transactional data. I know we probably just sent it in, so you probably haven't looked at it yet, but
Yeah,
is that just for you getting up to speed? Do you
It
plan to come back to us with questions, which is fine, I just.
I don't
what to
think
expect.
so, because all the statements come in, you know, every
Yeah.
quarter. But yeah, it was just kind of to see it in a different format that I'm
Okay.
more used to, yeah.
Yeah, typically we send those in PDF, like, do you want Excel? Like, doesn't matter. Like,
I'll let you know,
Okay.
because it might be something other board members might be interested in as
Okay.
well, but yeah. Okay. All right. Well, thank you all. Appreciate you guys. All right, we're gonna move on to EMS.
hey,
You just say it.
What?
So.
Nothing on the fire marshal.
We didn't have anything for fire marshal.
So, all right, do we? Support?
I don't
Anything for the
think so,
fire
but
Anything for
Thank
the
you.
fire marshal, guys? Mark, Nick?
Sir.
I know.
Do you
but I
have any
didn't-
questions for the fire marshal? All right.
Thank you, guys.
Have a good night, everyone.
You too.
Bill, I think they're good.
I'm just gonna watch.
You're gonna watch?
Great.
Okay.
Learn something.
So I'm gonna just watch Bill.
So, it's 140, yeah,
You never got one? Bring it up.
One page.
141.
141, you got one kind of count.
Do you want one?
Yeah.
Heidi, do you have another binder for the budget? Do we have one?
Maybe, yeah.
If you have one, let's see.
Do you never know?
I didn't know, I must be, you know, I've been out.
It's only $10 a copy.
Oh, boy. All right, I got it.
There's a delivery fee too.
And Steve, I can give you, if you want an apparatus update for us to.
Oh, sure.
EMS, so pretty straightforward. So this is already in the capital plan. Probably about a week or two out, we'll have the RFP template in to Board of Finance take a look at for replacement of our oldest ambulance. What we're doing is trying something a little different this time. It's actually a combination of some cost savings, but also really trying something that might better meet our needs. So if you've seen our ambulances around town, they're the larger box, ambulance, which is on a chassis. We're gonna move to a Sprinter type model. If you've seen some of those around, like more the van. To give you some context, if we were to buy another box ambulance, we have about 265,000 that we put away, I think, in capital. Those are over $400,000 now with the recent changes. So we would, even if we wanted to do that, we would have to come for more funds. We actually think the Sprinter is gonna better meet our needs. It's a little bit easier to drive, a little more maneuverable. Talk to some other departments that use them, and we can get them a lot quicker. We might be able to get it in 6 months versus 18 months. So that our new ambulance will be a Sprinter.
Does that open up drivers to different people?
It doesn't require different training or anything, but to your point, it's a good starter truck. If you've never driven a larger truck, I'd rather start you on that than the larger one. I could see us still maintaining at least one or two of the larger ones. They're good for training when we have more people on the call, but we're gonna give this one a go and it'll save the town a fair amount of money there too.
So it's obviously not as big, so what are you giving up in terms of?
It's basically just that, you wouldn't wanna, so in the back of the ambulance, it's a little tighter. It's great when you have two people or one person working back there, cause things are more in reach for you. If we had a trainee, like if we were training someone, we'd probably use the larger ambulance just cause we'd have an extra person or two and it's more room, but that's really the only thing, yeah.
So that's the only thing you've got going on.
Yeah, other than that, our other two ambulances, we generally replace every 10 years or so, 9 or 10 years. Each ambulance, to the earlier point, is more about the hours, but we do exceed, we'll get up over 120,000 miles or so on a truck. By the time we replace it, but they have a lot of hours, they're idling all the time and all that, but other than that, we're good on equipment and yeah.
Okay.
And I know we fast tracked some stuff. Did that all work out?
Yeah, so what you're referring to is the Lucas, the 3 CPR Lucas machines were in here a few months ago. We've used them already, unfortunately. But they're all deployed on the trucks and those will be good for another 9 years, something like that. So,
Fantastic.
yeah.
So every truck has one?
Yeah. So, yeah, we appreciated that and they've already been used.
So
like I said.
basically all the ambulances are outfitted with the same basic set of.
Yeah, they have exactly the same. One thing that's unique on this purchase, if you've seen our stretchers are all powered hydraulic stretchers. We generally move those from an old ambulance to a new ambulance one time, and then we replace it the second time. So this ambulance, we're gonna get a brand new one. Those are incredibly expensive. The stretcher and the mount is over $50,000. So we try to get as much use as we can, but they eventually fall out of warranty. They won't maintain them. That's what our maintenance contract is in the budget for, but so this will be a brand new stretcher setup in this new ambulance.
I just remember the manual ones, you can never get them to go up.
Well, they cause injuries, they just high amount of injuries from the lifting, so yeah, these are much better. Yeah, so we're good, yeah.
I have to say, luckily I haven't experienced it, so.
Craig, I have a question for you.
Sure.
In regards to moving from a full-size ambulance to a Sprinter.
Mhm.
Other than the maneuverability through the roads, what do you lose by going from a large ambulance to a Sprinter? Cause to me, it feels like you lose some room.
It's room, yeah, it's space inside. We've looked at them, we actually went out to Stratford, we looked at their trucks, they also had a
So
manufacturer.
Stratford's operating them.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
that's a
but-
city with a lot more cola volume than we have.
Yeah, look, AMR is all in van.
I mean, that's all we have in Bridgeport is all
yeah.
vans.
Okay.
They ride a lot, it's much more comfortable for the patient, it's
The
much more
patients.
comfortable for the staff.
Suspension wise.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, much
There's
It's not a
better.
softer
heavy
on.
duty truck, right?
Yeah, that
We're
makes
putting these
sense.
on
I didn't even think of
Yeah.
that. That makes sense.
And then we'll get all-wheel drive, so,
Gotcha.
so it'll be fairly,
And they have a significant amount of ceiling room, right?
height is not a
High
problem.
High
yeah.
shelves.
You can stand, so it's not like the old vans where you're hunched
Right,
over, so
right.
it's more just, it's narrow.
Yeah, it's just
narrower
narrower.
than the
But which is nice because it's easier to maneuver around
Somebody's driveways.
driveways
exactly.
everywhere,
Yeah.
even just.
They're
getting-
gas powered, diesel.
So it's a good question. We actually, our two of our ambulances today, our oldest one and the second oldest one are diesel. The last one we purchased, we went to gas.
Okay.
And it was a little bit of a test. It was, historically, you would not want to do that. But the technology had advanced and we're very happy with it. Even on the large truck, it has advantages, easier to maintain. We don't have to put diesel exhaust fluid in it. So this would be a gas truck most likely as well.
Okay.
Yeah, years ago, there was a significant savings with diesel, the
Yeah.
cost is, but now diesel
Now
is
it's-
much more expensive. There's additives they have to do. And to be honest with you, and Craig,
Yeah, sorry.
I I believe the gas motors are getting just as much mileage, if not more.
Yeah, you just have a little, on our bigger one, a little bit less torque at the.
On the
low speed,
bottom.
But you're not doing jackrabbit stuff.
Right.
Anyway, so, yeah, so we'll have to get, we're gonna get the bids and specs and, Lisa was just saying, we'll see what engine variations. it
Now, do
comes in,
these,
but-
do you go to like an Eco V6? Cause I know with the
Don't
truck
know.
that I have, it's an Eco 6 and it was better on fuel than a Ford Explorer.
Yeah, I don't know enough yet until we, will release, we'll see what they come back with. I don't know what some of those options are yet.
Gotcha.
Brian Payne, who's our vehicle guy, has been doing all that, so. Well
Okay.
versed and.
So what's your schedule?
I'd love to get the RFP, I know it's to go to legal review, put the package together. I'd love to have our part done in the next week or two. And then however long it takes to, I know the capital, the funds are there, so it's just a question of releasing the bids. We'll give, I would say we give like a month or so, to respond and then we'll evaluate the bids.
Sprinters, those are Dodge products?
There's a Mercedes Sprinter and then a Ford Transit. Freightliner, yeah, there's a few different, they all kind of look the same to me, but there's like Transit.
I don't think you're gonna
Sprinter.
find a Mercedes being together.
Yeah, that may be the diesel one, yeah. Might be like diesel.
Are those two significantly different in price?
I think I don't know honestly, yeah.
Owned by the same company.
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of it's also, these are all like they buy the raw vehicle and then they upfit them and, do all their cabinetry and stuff, yeah, so. That's why we gotta see what comes back, but I think it's a great option for us, we'll go to the world. I think, yeah, there's a lot of advantages, so,
Well, if the cities are using them, right?
yeah.
Yeah. And you think you get the same lifespan, right? 10 years? or
Yeah, I think so, yeah, I mean, given what we do with them, we have a rotation program, right, so we kind of rotate them every few days and try to equal out the use, so, yeah.
something? Okay. All right.
Thank you.
See how it goes?
Yeah, I see that.
We learned in every meeting, so now I know.
Yeah, you don't come to one of these and walk out without something.
No, I don't have any other questions. Any questions on the phone? I know, Sam, I keep checking in with you.
No, I'm good. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you,
Be-
everybody.
Before we adjourn, I'd like to just talk about schedules again, because we need to schedule our capital meeting, which we don't have yet on the calendar,
In revenue.
in revenue, yes. And typically we don't do this in the same night, right? We haven't.
No, we haven't, depends on which. So what are we doing on Thursday?
Thursday we got.
You have Public Works, don't you?
That,
Public Works, library and
Town department.
Parks and Recs.
so Public Works. I wanted to hear from Parks and Rec. I wanted to hear from the library director. What else was out there?
I'm sorry, what was that? It was
The DPW, Parks and Rec,
DPW, Parks and
library.
Rec and Library. That were the three that.
For
Thursday?
Okay.
For
For
Thursday.
Thursday.
No one else
I've had
texted
department
me.
heads ask me if there's gonna be questions in advance, like at this point.
No,
I will get you anything I have. I don't. I mean, the two, I will tell you that the two questions I'm going to have for. Park and Rec and the library is the question that the town council was discussing. Not that we're gonna fill those positions, but what would the cost, the fully burdened cost of the assistant director for Parks and Rec and whatever the name of the title for the library person who's, I know incorrectly being referred to as the marker space person, but there was a title or description stated,
Those are probably numbers that we're probably gonna have to prepare for you.
yeah.
So those were that was for public, Parks and Rec in the library.
Yeah,
So I don't know if you need, I mean, you could certainly have the directors if you have other questions, but I don't know if I mean, those are numbers.
Yeah,
we're
those
gonna
are
have to
readily-
come up
Well, no, I knew, no, I knew that you would have to give me the numbers. I may have some questions for each of them as individuals.
Ron, if you're preparing those numbers, can you also include the breakdown for medical insurance or whatever?
with. Yeah, fully.
Like
loaded.
Yeah, I said, yeah, fully
Oh, you did,
burdened.
okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Great.
fully burdened,
Fully burdened,
soup,
okay.
soup to nuts.
I didn't hear that.
And, you know, for a full year, even though we often deal with saying somebody will start in January, so we cut things down to half a year. We do that routinely with new part, but I just want to know what the yearly fully burdened rate would be.
They're both additive to the current budget.
They would be, if we
Yes.
were to do anything, and I'm not saying we will, but at the council, there was a number being floated that was a salary only number for one person. And I just want to get I want to get the fully burdened number for both people. Take.
Now, for capital and revenue, will that be one meeting or is it two separate meetings?
I guess two separate.
So
I mean,
our-
it
our
could be
budget-
either, but it just depends on timing, I guess.
When is our budget due?
The 20th.
The 20th.
Which is Easter Sunday, I believe.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have a regular meeting on the 17th, which we had talked about voting on the
Voting on
budget
the
that
17th.
night.
Right.
So if
I'm
that,
out
if
of
you,
town that Thursday.
okay. Can you call in?
Yeah, I'll be in Florida. I could probably call him.
Okay.
Well,
Stay in touch.
Either way, you're gonna get out of the round robin motion if you're gonna be on the
Yeah,
phone, because
Yeah,
we've learned that that's doing it with people on the phone is a little crazy. So,
I mean, if we have capital and revenue early enough and-
somewhere next week or the beginning of the week after, you
Mhm.
need to fit in 2 meetings, is basically the way I'm looking at it. The only night that I know is off the table for you and I, Rebecca, is on the 10th of
Right.
April, because that's a Board of Ed ad hoc meeting.
Can
So,
we do a Saturday?
What if you just did two Tuesdays in a row?
Because I feel like if we do, sorry to jump in, I feel like if we do capital and revenue in one meeting, it might be wise for us to have a little bit more time if we can do something on like a Saturday afternoon, mid-morning.
we've never met on the weekends.
But can we?
There's nothing that says we can't, I don't think, right?
Just can
Well,
you
when
get,
are
can
you
you get
gonna
a
do,
quorum?
I will tell you, I'm not going to, I shouldn't announce it public, but I'm not gonna be here on the 11th through the 14th. So,
Okay,
and that's the only week, and we're obviously not talking about doing it this weekend. Yeah, I mean, I think the
so can we
the
plan
statement
on
about the 8th and the
Tuesday, the
15th,
8th?
the 8th and the 15th?
I'm not available on myself.
And I'm not
Okay.
available on the 5th.
Okay,
Mm.
what about the 9th? We do Monday and Wednesday? The 7th
Well,
and
the
the 9th?
7th is the Board of Ed meeting, so Ron's tied up with that. Why is the town council meeting?
I can't do the 7th.
No, I don't think anybody, I think there's other reasons.
Council's this coming Monday.
Which is the 7th. The 7th is the town council and Board of Ed meeting on the same night.
Is it really?
Yeah, it is. They moved it for whatever. I'm not gonna go there.
Okay,
Right now, it sounded like the 9th is at least one of the nights.
I can do the 8th or the 9th.
all right, let's plan on the 9th.
Yeah, Ron can't do the 8th, so we'll do the 9th.
The 9th is a Wednesday.
The 9th is a Wednesday. Just like last Wednesday we met.
What is that gonna be?
Wednesday, the 9th, 6
Capital,
PM
Capital.
here, capital. I would think we would do capital and then we'll end up with revenue.
What time?
6 o'clock.
Soon 6. That will be capital.
You're gonna do
Can-
capital and revenue the same
Can,
day?
yeah, is everyone open to doing both in one night?
Yes.
I think that's great, yes.
Okay,
I don't think we have a choice. I think everyone's so busy with the holiday coming up, so.
yep.
Yeah,
guess-
I mean, let's try to get through it. In worst case, we can't, we add another meeting.
And again, I think probably wanna have Justin and maybe,
What's that?
Are you available on the 9th for revenue?
I'm okay with tonight.
Just wanna make sure.
So we do
Yeah,
revenue and
we wanna
capital
have,
one
we
night?
wanna have all the,
I think that's smart.
we wanna have all the revenue generating people.
So we need Justin
I was gonna
and do
say
we need
Justin,
Deb?
Deb,
Yes,
probably wouldn't hurt, and maybe wanna tackle revenue first.
Missy,
So the 17th will be the day that we do our roundtable.
Yes.
yes,
Okay, so what is happening the 14th, 15th, 16th? Anything?
what day is the roundtable?
the 17th, our
17th.
normal meeting.
I won't be here on the 17th, unfortunately.
Yeah. So right now, nothing is on the 14th, 15th, or 16th. So we plan for a meeting on the 9th where we try to do capital and revenue. And if something else comes up and we think we need another meeting, then we stick it somewhere in the 14th, 15th, 16th. Otherwise, we just do it on the 17th as part of our regular meeting. I
So
can't
what's the
imagine,
availability on the
Can't get through it.
15th for everybody?
I'm available on the 15th.
You're away.
Yeah, I'm away the week.
Okay,
I'll start in the-
I think I'm following Nick.
yeah. Catherine and Sam, are you available on the 15th if we need another one?
I am available.
I'm
Okay.
available as well.
Okay,
So 9th with an
so I'm just gonna put a
optional
placeholder.
15th.
Or 15 if needed.
So
Yeah.
15th is a tentative.
Yeah,
Yeah.
15th is an optional 6 P.M. And that's a Tuesday.
We're gonna have to check.
There should be no reason you can't get through it.
Mhm.
You just go a little bit later on the 9th.
Right.
Yeah, cause if Justin or
Bring a
Deb
snack.
can't make it, we'll have to be
Yeah, I
flexible
mean,
there.
we're out of here now. We
So
go.
as far as reaching out to Justin, I think Justin and Deb. I don't know if we need, I mean, I guess we could add Missy and or Vita, but I think Justin and Deb are the two most important. You guys make the call.
Agreed.
Okay,
You wanna just do you want me to, Heidi and I can reach out to the two of them?
Can you,
Does that make sense?
yeah, that's fine.
I'm sorry,
No, go
I
ahead.
shouldn't speak for you.
No, you can share your
I was
opinion.
saying yes, please do.
Oh,
I
okay.
shouldn't, I apologize. I shouldn't speak
That's
for you.
okay. All right, so are we good with meetings and times and dates? And
As far as Justin, I don't know where Justin lives. I wanna say North Bradford. If remote option, okay with you guys with him? If need be.
yeah, this worked great, no interruptions.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that would be fine. The only thing is I'll check with Jonathan and see if any town council members would wanna join that meeting as well. So I'll take care of that.
We did a complete revamp of Zoom. So we should have that solved.
Oh, good, okay.
What do we do? What we do?
IT adjusted what needed to be adjusted.
Oh,
We put a lot of trust in community not misbehaving. But we realize now that that is not always the case, right? So
Community
They did it
extends
to
outside the
Fairfield,
walls
too.
of Monroe, unfortunately, so.
MetroCog, it's been all across the country,
no, it's not just lucky us, huh?
not just
Oh, they
like
did it
us.
in Reading, we got it too.
You got it in Reading too?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fairfield had it. They were,
Fairfield had it too?
they were the first ones.
Yep.
Director Stani's presentation, super.
All right. Well, thank you for everyone's flexibility on that. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Thanks, Nick.